Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. So, for all you Canadian small business owners, sole proprietors, and tradespeople tuning in, we really need to bust a massive myth right out of the gate today. Listen, your business documentation absolutely does not need to look like some heavy, formal corporate manual. In fact, if it does, you're probably doing it wrong for your size. Today, we're going to build a basic documentation habit that actually saves you time instead of eating up your whole day. Just to give you a quick lay of the land, we're sitting right in the operations and systems domain, specifically focusing on building repeatable routines. The goal here is to just strip away that invisible daily friction that slows you down. You might remember the Built to Thrive framework has 3 layers: awareness, where you spot the issue; practice, where you apply a tool; and maturity, where you strengthen the system. Well, today is purely a practice guide. No high-level theory, we are just rolling up our sleeves and implementing a real usable habit. Let's get into it. Okay, let's dive right into this core paradigm shift. Please hear me out. Useful documentation does not need to be long, and it definitely doesn't need to be polished. Honestly, in a small business, a perfectly useful piece of documentation can literally just be a short bulleted note, a quick photo on your phone, or even a saved example of a great client email. That's it. Now, this entire habit really anchors on one specific guiding question. Ask yourself right now, what do I keep explaining, remembering, or recreating that really should be easier to find next time? Seriously, think about that for a second. Because that, right there, that is exactly what invisible friction looks like. If you're constantly rebuilding the same things from scratch every week, you are leaking precious time and energy. And that brings us perfectly to step 1 of our simple 7-step habit. Start with what you repeat. Look, don't try to document your entire business from top to bottom. That's just going to drive you crazy. Just focus entirely on the everyday tasks that you, the owner, keep saying, explaining, writing, searching for, or rebuilding. We're talking about the super common stuff: standard email replies, quote assumptions, job photo requirements, client intake questions, or even just basic file naming rules. If you find yourself wasting mental energy digging around for supplier notes or customer setup instructions over and over, capturing those is going to pay off for you immediately. Step 2 is absolutely critical if you actually want to get this done. Capture the rough version first. Please, whatever you do, do not wait around trying to create a beautifully formatted document. Start with a rough, messy, bulleted note that you can actually use right now. Perfection is literally the enemy of a good system here. And this brilliantly illustrates the difference. Skip the heavy, bloated manual that nobody ever opens. Instead, you want to rely on a highly usable, rough note. Something like a quick bulleted list of what to include when sending out a quote, or exactly what to review every Friday afternoon. The rough note wins every single time because it actually survives contact with the real world. Moving on to step 3, which is all about keeping the documentation types simple. The format you choose should just naturally match the need, without overcomplicating the whole thing. You just need the right container for the information, nothing more. It's kind of like a matching game. Got repeated steps? Boom, that's a simple checklist. Work that moves through stages? That's a workflow. If you're constantly explaining the exact same instructions to clients, just make it an email template. And if you figure out how to fix a common issue, just jot down a quick troubleshooting note. Match the format directly to the rhythm of the work. Okay, step 4. And honestly, this might be the most crucial point. Documentation is completely, 100% useless if it's hidden away in some digital subfolder that no one ever clicks on. It literally has to be visible at the exact moment you need it. It must live where the work happens. Let me give you some concrete examples. Drop your quote assumptions right inside the actual quote template. Save your job closeout note directly inside the active job folder so it's staring you in the face. Put month-end instructions natively in your finance folder, or, my personal favorite, drop your weekly review checklist right inside a recurring calendar reminder. Make it impossible to miss. Step 5 shifts our perspective just a little bit. Capture examples, not just instructions. You know, we tend to think that documentation means writing out this massive list of rules, but actually scratch that. Examples are usually way faster to create and a whole lot easier for someone to immediately understand. Simply saving a stellar sample quote, a perfect file name, a sample intake form, or a wonderfully written customer reply instantly shows what good looks like. It completely bypasses the need for lengthy, boring explanations because the example itself proves the standard. It's like a shortcut to clarity. Step 6 is a real game changer for your daily routine. Add documentation during real work. Look, never advise yourself or your team to set aside a full Tuesday just to document the business. It rarely happens, and honestly, it's just exhausting to even think about. Instead, capture that useful knowledge exactly while the work is actively happening. So, if you just wrote a really great email answering a tricky question, boom, save it as a template immediately. Hit the nail on the head fixing a tech issue, write down the fix right then and there. Or jot down the exact steps you took right after a wonderfully smooth client onboarding. Do it in the moment. Let's bring it home with step 7, review and remove what is not useful. Look, your documentation has to reduce friction. If it doesn't, it just turns into outdated clutter that your team is going to completely ignore. Make it a regular habit to pose these essential questions. Is this still accurate? Is anyone actually using it? Is it easy to find? And most importantly, does this actually reduce repeated explanation? If the answer is no, you are completely empowered to hit delete, shorten it, or update it. Prune the system so it stays healthy and actually serves you. Now, I want to reassure you and define exactly what good enough looks like so you know when you've succeeded without overbuilding. You are completely done if you've identified one repeated area worth capturing, picked the simplest format, put it where the work lives, and saved one example. If you've done that, that is a massive win for your business. I really want this to sink in, so listen to this. You do not need a full manual. You need a habit of capturing useful knowledge before it disappears back into memory. That is the entire philosophy right there. Capture the genius before you forget it. To help you execute this today, go grab the free Basic Documentation Starter. It's an awesome tool that helps you choose just one task and map it out simply, without overbuilding the whole shebang. So I'll leave you with this one provocative thought. What is the absolute one thing you are so tired of explaining or recreating that you are going to commit to capturing today? Thanks so much for joining me, and we'll catch you in the next one.